Hey, it is great to have you stopping by. I'm John Zidar. This is On Top and Hot, and today is Wednesday. It's December 4th, which means tomorrow being Thursday, I've got my live streaming event. I do this every Thursday, 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Now, for the most part, I've always had a co-host, but she's been gone for about 2 months now. In case you didn't guess, Taylor had a baby. That's why she's gone, so everything's okay. We just haven't seen her since she's had the baby. Now, she told me she was going to be coming back just before Thanksgiving, but I didn't hear from her. I'm sure everything's fine, but I'm going to presume I'm going to be alone tomorrow. So let's see what happens. What I'm doing, folks, is I'm taking requests from viewers like you. I'm looking at hot penny stocks that you give me. I share penny stocks with you all the time. This gives you a chance to not only share them with me, but with everybody else. I'll go over the information and the charts, and I'll give you my opinion, whatever that's worth. Now, I do go by first come, first served, and I do put up an announcement of this video earlier in the day. And right then and there, people start dropping tickers. So by the time 4 o'clock rolls around, I pretty much have all the tickers I can actually look at. But I am trying to save 2 places for during the show for anyone who drops their tickers. So if you can't get a ticker drop before the show, maybe we'll get a chance to look at it during the show. That's 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, Thursday, every Thursday. So you know what I like to do on this show, right? I like to talk about hot penny stocks because I'm a day trader that trades stocks under $5. I do this virtually every day. And today I want to talk to you about 2 penny stocks that I've actually already covered in videos, but I have had a lot of comments and questions about these 2 stocks, ticker OPTT and ticker OTLK. So what we're going to do is get updates on these. I'm not going to go through everything, but we'll try to touch on to enough so that if this is the first time you've heard about the stock, you'll know what's going on. So OTLK, Outlook Therapeutics. I covered this just last week and I made a big boo-boo on the picture. It was supposed to read 1,500% gains, not 15,000% gains. Oh my God, and I didn't realize that until way later. And I really can't change the picture. I can change the headline, but I can't change the picture. In either case, we were looking at this because she had taken a big drop on the charts. A news press came out that had 1 sentence of bad news, but had a lot of good news. And she dropped from $5 to under $1. And we were expecting it to come back because I think people misread the news. I think they only took the bad news. So let's dive right on in, look at why it dropped, why I think it's going to come back, and what's the updated news we got right now. OTLK, she is an American company based out of New Jersey. She is at $1.65 at the end of the day, and she dropped today about 8.5%. Now, this is a penny stock on the major exchange, which comes with benefits compared to the stocks on the OTC. First off, there's no transaction fees on the major exchange. You can buy your shares, sell your shares. It doesn't cost you anything. You can also trade them pre-market, aftermarket. No special permission or qualifications necessary. Just get in there and trade. But remember, it is aftermarket and pre-market. It's not a day trade, so you got to change the period of time that you're trading. Change it from day to aftermarket or extended period or whatever your broker has. There's also a lot more money, a lot more volume, and a lot more rules up on the major exchange, which is great. We want all of that. More volume and more money is just what we need, plain and simple. And more rules, well, we need that too. Down at the OTC, they don't have as much oversight, so they get away with a lot more down there, and it is the investors that normally pay. So I like trading these penny stocks on the major exchange. So OTLK, let's just jump right on into the news. It was this piece of news that we looked at November 27th when they came out with preliminary top-line results. Top-line results does not mean they're the best results. It's just what they call them. But preliminary means just that. They're not done with this trial. It's a phase 3 trial. It's 12 weeks long. This came out at the 8-week mark. The bad news that caused the stock to drop, as far as we know, was this one. In the Norse 8 trial, the drug ONS 5010 did not meet the pre-specified non-inferiority endpoint at week 8. We don't know what happened from week 1 to week 7, but nobody cried. Week 8, we've got some bad news, but we've still got week 9, 10, 11, and 12 to go. So this trial is not over in the United States with the FDA. However, they tell us the preliminary data from the trial demonstrated improvement in vision and the presence of biologic activity. They've got a medication for macular degeneration, wet AMD. Now, it is not approved here in the United States yet. Phase 3 is the very end. It's the very last trial, and they're stumbling right here, which is why the stock probably fell. People were getting scared because if you fail a phase 3 trial, the stock will fall hard because it's taken 5 to 8 years to get the drug here and a lot of money. And when you lose it right here, everything you invested is gone, and investors just bail ship real quick. But I don't know if they read the good news. In addition, plans for a potential 2025 launch in the UK and Germany are ongoing, where Lightnova has received European Commission and MHR marketing authorization for the treatment of wet AMD. So it has been approved in the UK and Germany. Not only approved, but they have marketing approval, and they're about to start selling it at the beginning of next year. Now, coming back to the news, right after this, we had some management changes here, and I have not dived into this, so I really don't know what the reasons are, but the CEO resigned, and they got other executive management, it looks like, is changing as well. But the news that came out today is something we need to consider. This is good news. So why the stock fell, I don't know. I'm expecting this stock to climb, folks. And I do believe I've got a little more information to talk about here, because the reason we expected it to climb wasn't just because it fell. It wasn't just because it had good news. It was because there was a lot of top name analysts that said this thing was going to jump to $30, $40, $50, $60, $100. Top name analysts, price targets. Now, I don't go in for price targets because most price targets are given by people we've never heard of before, so they don't have a lot of weight. But when big named analysts use them, that's a whole different story. So we were looking at jumping from $2 to $30 minimally, 1,500% gains, not 15,000. And that's why we were looking at this. And now she's falling with good news. Outlook Therapeutics announces nice recommendation of Lightnova for the treatment of wet AMD. This is the first positive reimbursement decision worldwide for Lightnova for first launch anticipated in the first quarter of 2025. Lightnova is the first and only approved eye formulation for the treatment of wet AMD in the European Union and the United Kingdom. Did you hear that, folks? The first, that's first mover advantage, and only, that's a monopoly. And look at here. There are 40,000 new wet AMD patients each year just in the UK alone who could benefit from this treatment. Now, I pointed out the fact that top name analysts were boosting this price up to $30 to $100. Are they still doing that? Let's take a look over here. I am over here at Google. I just put in OTLK price targets to see what they bring up. Current price, $1.80. Average stock price target is just under $30. The lowest one now is $9. It wasn't that low before, but that's still a pretty nice jump from $1.80 up to $9. And the highest one is $53. There was also one other place that I was getting my information from. It was Tip Ranks. Outlook Therapeutics stock forecast and price targets. We have price targets here of $9, $21.33, and $30 on this chart right here. Down here, they've blocked a whole bunch of them, but we've got some more. $31.40, $40, and $33. My point, there are still very, very high price targets on this stock. Even if we take the lowest one at $9, we're still doing, what is that, 300, 400% jump from where we're at right now. So let's see what the relative volume was around the company today. It was down a little bit. She's been averaging about 2.7 million shares a day over the last 30 days. Today she did about 2.4 million. Share structure for OTLK isn't bad. Outstanding share count is about 24 million, we don't know what the float is, but we can figure it out if we know how many shares the insiders own. I don't know that either. Subtract the insiders' holdings from the outstanding, that gives us our float. All I can say is it's not going to be any higher than the outstanding share count, so it won't be any higher than 24 million, and it could be considerably less. And anything under 100 million, as far as I'm concerned, is a good float. Anything under 23 million is a great float. Market cap, we are currently at about 43 million. Financials for OTLK, we've got no revenues coming in on the yearly basis, and we got nothing coming in on the quarterlies. No money. Let's see what they have on the balance books here. We've got 3 zeros. We've got to put behind any of the numbers on these charts. So they're cash and cash equivalents, which I like to call the bank. We got about $32 million in the bank. 47 million in assets. Oh, and 130 million in liabilities. Well, I expect that, folks. This is a research and development biotech company. They were looking for a miracle drug. They had to pay everybody to do all that research. They don't have any money that they're making. They've got no products that they're selling. The drug they did find, they had to put through the phase trials every single month. All those years cost them a ton of money, but they don't have any money. They don't have any products to sell. So where are they getting that money? From investors, little guys like us and big guys. And all of that falls down here. We are carrying 84 million in stockholder deficit for this company right now. All their paychecks are coming from us. So once they get into the UK and over into the EU and start selling their drug, they're going to start making money. And that's going to turn this company from a research and development to a commercialization company. And that's a big deal when it comes to biotechs. And that's the reason that everybody is given a high price target for it, because it is changing gears now. It's actually going to get on the road and start moving. Taking a look at the disclosures. We've got a new 8K here. I think this has to do with the news. Oh, right. They are changing management. You want to get into what's going on? Just dive on into this. So that's what's happening, folks. We are still on course for everything good. Yes, we are still fumbling around with the FDA. They say they're going to resubmit this at the beginning of 2025. It's not like they're out of the game. They just stumbled at week 8 and we still got 4 more weeks. And it's not like they were out of the game because they stumbled. They just fell down that low and the stock fell that far. But they're turning into commercialization with the product going into the UK and the EU, and that's imminent. That's going to happen. So we're not talking about this running in the next day or two probably, but if you were to hang on to this until halfway through January, maybe the first quarter, I'm sure this thing is going to jump hard. All right, let's go take a look at the chart and see what it looks like. So we're going to chart OTLK over here at my free trading platform, Think or Swim. I have got Outlook Therapeutics opened up to a 6-month, 4-hour view. And those highs and lows, those are the 52-week highs and lows, believe it or not. So we've got a 52-week high at the end of March of $12.85, and we've got a 52-week low at the bottom of this plunge at the end of November of 81 cents. As you can see, she was in a downtrend all this time before that plunge happened. And even after the plunge, she continued on that downtrend. We did have a bounce, but she is definitely falling right now. Now, what's interesting are the oscillators. The chart is not looking healthy. It looks like she wants to keep falling. All of our MAs are on top of her head and everything is pushing down. Well, we expect to see the oscillators looking exactly like that. Well, here's our PPO. Our PPO is falling just like the price. That makes sense. And our PPO, our percentage price oscillator, is just like the MACD. The MACD uses the full price. The PPO uses a percentage of the price. Well, look at our MACD. That's not falling. No, that is actually climbing. While our price is falling, our MACD is climbing, and they're coming together. That's called a divergence. This is a bullish divergence. It has to correct itself and snap back. And when it snaps back, it's going to open up and it's going to allow volume to come in and the price normally climbs. So this, is actually looking pretty good, especially for a swing trade. It probably isn't going to take effect tomorrow or the next day. It is a gradual climb that's taken 4 or 5 days so far, and she's pushing her way towards that signal line. So I do like that. What I don't like is our RSI. Oh my God. Folks, blue is cold. Red is hot. We are freezing here. The floor is at 30. That's the basement floor. We went through the basement floor. We fell all the way down here to 11. That's one of the lowest RSIs I've ever seen. That is deathly low. She came back up, but she's fallen back under, and right now we are just barely hanging on to 28. So the only thing I like here is this divergence on our MACD. Let's come on down to our 1 hour view. Open this up a little bit for us. 20-day 1 hour view. At the beginning of November, we were at about $7. And then she started to dribble and she fell underneath the 200 without any fight. She's not trying to hang on or recover. She just kept falling and then leveled off. Real sweet here. And then the news came out and she fell hard and fast. From 497 down to that 81. She took a jump. She got up here to this 200, and it was all this time everybody was getting in because we were aware of the high price targets. And she was looking good. Once she hit her head on the 200 haul here, she quit climbing. She then just started going sideways, which is okay because she was making headway. She got through the 200 haul. She got through the 50. She is actually on top of them right now, but she is underneath the 20, which is really pushing her down. And now she's under the 9, and she is underneath every single MA with everything falling right now. And all of our oscillators flat. Look at this, folks. There's just no heat right now on the hourly chart whatsoever. And the chart itself looks like it is still falling. Let's come on down to that 5-day 15-minute. So we were at $5.15, dropped down to that 81, crossed over, and that's what's sad right there, folks. That 200-day MA was falling. She had a push up here showing inclination that she may want to start climbing if the 200 gets close enough. Came back down, went sideways, waiting for the 200. Here it comes. She crosses it silently. She is sitting on top of it and then just exits and starts to fall again. Why would a stock refuse to stay on top of a flat or climbing 200? That is concerning. That is a mystery to me. She is in a fall right now, and she is underneath everything. Now, at this very moment, our oscillators are trying to build up some heat. They are trying to push up right now. But the fact of the matter is, I don't expect this to recover in the next day, week. I do think it's going to take at least 30 days. I think the chart needs some recovery. I think the company needs to get away from that last piece of press release. And I think we need to get into 2025. For a swing trade, I think OTLK is still great. When you consider the lowest price target is at $9 and we are under $2. Right? We're under $2. So you're looking at over a 400% gain just to get to the $9. The next one was 30, then 33, then 40. We actually had them up there at 60 and 100 the other day. So I still see a lot of potential in this company. May not be a scalp stock, but it is definitely a swing stock. But it does need some more due diligence. So just don't count on what I've told you today. Go do some more. All right, let's go take a look at another company now. OPTT. So we're now looking at an American-based company out of New Jersey. We're looking at OPT, ticker OPTT. This is Ocean Power Technologies. She finished today just a little over 41 cents, and she was up just a little over 11%. Now, this is a hot penny stock on the New York Stock Exchange. Now, if you're not familiar with what Ocean Power does, they make power buoys. They generate electricity on these buoys way out there in the middle of the ocean, and they do it in a lot of different ways. They can generate power through wind, solar power, or wave power. They've got wave generators underneath. And what do they use all this electricity for? All sorts of things. They connect all sorts of technology and devices to these buoys, like 4G, 5G, satellite connectivity, Wi-Fi. They can talk to ships, submarines, planes. They can talk to land. They've got peripheral equipment that is hooked up to it, like these boats. There's no people running these boats. They run around based on AI communication. These have got AI now, and they relay information to the buoy, which relays it to whoever needs that information. But what happens when these boats run out of power? They recharge themselves. They literally back up to the buoy and plug themselves in and recharge. Honestly, folks, I think this is a hot product. I don't know of any other companies that have anything like this, and considering that the world is covered in 2/3 water, that's a lot of shorelines. And as far as I'm concerned, everybody is going to want this at least for security purposes. That's just the world we live in. So I like OPTT now and down the road. So let's take a look at the news. The only news I see here recently is a pre-release of their financials. Preliminary financials are great. They give us a peekaboo before they come out. Now, I have not gone through all of this information. I've only looked at the money, and it looks pretty good to me. They tell us that their revenues are estimated to be greater than $2 million this year, compared to $0.9 million for the same period last year, representing a double increase in their revenues. Net loss is anticipated to be approximately $4 million, compared to $7.2 million in the prior year, representing a year-over-year decrease of over 40%. Operating expenses have been reduced approximately by 40% as well. Cash used in operating activities is estimated to be less than $4.7 million, compared to $7.5 million in the prior year. Again, this is a decrease of about 40%. So everything is dropping about 40%. How about we kick the stock up 40%? Now, I really didn't see anything else going on here, but we'll go through the information and see what we can find. Looking at the relative volume for the company, it has more than doubled today. She's been doing an average of about 33 million shares a day over the last month. Today, she did over 75 million shares. Share structure for OPTT. We're cutting it close. I don't like to see anything over 100 million. Well, that's all they've got. Authorized shares, 100 million. And they've got virtually all of them on the market. Now, I don't know how many of them are actually on the market. The insiders are going to own some of those. We got to subtract that, and that will give us our float. No clue what it is. But I know it's not going to be over 97 million. Market cap for the company, we're currently at about 36 million. Financials for OPTT. All right, remember we got to add 3 zeros to any of the numbers on these charts. So 4 years ago, we were at 1.2 million, losing money. We were down 1 million. At the end of April 2024, that's the end of their fiscal year, we had $5.5 million, and $2.8 million of that was in profit. Things are growing across the board right now. Quarterly reports, let's see what we got here, 1.28. She's going up and down like the waves, just kind of rolling around there. And that's not just revenues, that is also profit as well. Right now, she's kind of in the middle of everything. Taking a look at the balance sheet, we've got 3.1 million in the bank, about 29 million in assets. Liabilities are down about 7 million, which gives us positive stockholder equity of about 22 million. So we do have revenues, we do have profit, and we do have stockholder equity. Things aren't looking bad. And the preliminary financials look good. Disclosures for the company. We've got some shares going on to the market, folks. We've got 2 filings here I need to share with you. One of them is good and one of them is not good. Our shares right now are 41 cents. They say they want to put up to $60 million worth of shares onto the market. Well, let's just round it up to 50 cents. You're looking at 120 million more shares on the market. Well, how can you do that? If you've only got 100 million shares, the first thing you got to do is ask for more shares. You got to increase your authorized share count. So I'm not real sure what's going on here. I'd have to do some more searching. But we can see they have strong intentions of putting a lot more shares on the market. And I'm not surprised by this, folks. Anytime you see a stock that's been down for a long time, when it starts to climb and it's got 3 or 4 days of running under its belt, boom, that's when they bring out a public offering. Since everybody's looking at the stock, to just throw a lot more shares out there. And what that did was dilute the shares. So I guess we got lucky that the stock actually went up today. So what's the good news? We had a Form 4 filed at the end of November, but it just came out here. A Form 4 is filed whenever the insiders acquire or dispose of the company's stock. Now, they can do that in a lot of different ways. We're interested when they buy them or sell them. And you can tell real quick just by looking here in the middle at the code. If you see a P, it's a purchase. If you see an S, it's a sale. You see any other letter, it's something else. And I'm really not too concerned about something else. But if you are, you can normally get some information down here underneath this. So what have we got here? We have Peter Slaby, who is a director. He has purchased 35,000 shares at 19 cents. He got them at a good price considering we're at 41 now. And that gives him just under 250,000 shares. Now, why do we consider this good news? Because whenever an insider buys, there's a reason for it. Either the stock is super low and he's just averaging down, or something's about to happen. Maybe there's no filing, maybe there's no press release, but you see a few insiders all start buying, a cluster of them, that's a cluster buy, you should pay attention to that stock. Chances are something's about ready to happen that the insiders know that we don't know. That's why they're all buying. So OPTT, she has got a great product. She's got a great service. I'm sure she's doing good business. We just saw her financials are growing, but we should probably dive into those financials deeper. But those are just the preliminaries. We haven't seen the real ones. And I didn't get a date when they were coming out. Maybe you can find that out. Right now, let's go take a look at that chart. So we're going to chart OPT now. Ticker OPTT. This is Ocean Power Technologies. Got it opened up to a 6-month, 4-hour view. Now, as you can see, I've got a ton of supports and resistances drawn on here. We have been playing the dog out of this stock over at Pennybois on the free members page. We're always looking for hot stocks that we're running. And as you can see, this one was running hot. And we do scalps over there. That's our primary play to get in and out of a trade as fast as we can and take some gains. So we play probable moves between supports and resistances, which is what all these yellow lines are. Places where the price likes to change direction, where it bounces. So we would get in just over top of one of these supports and then get out just underneath the next one. We play in between each one of these. But for our purpose, we don't need all of these lines right now, so I'm going to get rid of them just so it's easier to see the chart better. So we had a low back here in June of 12 cents, just as our 200 went flat. She broke out. She took that opportunity, jumping from 12 cents up to 60 cents. That's a 500% run. Then she took her good old sweet time falling, coming back down under the 200 after about 45 days. Had another small pop, fell back underneath the 200, and about 6 days ago, we were at like 15 cents. She hit a high a few days ago of 81 cents, and she has fallen back down here to 40 cents, which is where she's at now, bouncing and hanging around the 20-day MA. She did not come all the way down to our 15,200 here. She got close, but she didn't actually hit it. She has pulled back, and she is trying to push herself back up the charts right now. Volume isn't as strong as we would like, and our oscillators are weak. I'm not going to say they're cold. Our PPO is above the pink line. Our MACD is falling ever so slightly, and our RSI is going sideways. So things are kind of cool on our 4-hour chart. Let's take a look at our 20-day 1-hour view. Well, it's like the same thing on our 4-hour. You can see the big rip here. We really had fun playing this over the last few days. Not so much fun here. I don't think we have any shorters in the group. If we do, they probably bite their tongue because we don't like shorters. So she went sideways here, pre-market, after-market, and then we had a nice jump here in the morning. She hit her head here on the 50-day MA, fell back down to the 20, and she's bouncing in here. She's trying to hang on right now. So it doesn't look like she wants to fall. She looks like she's in an uptrend. She's just fighting to hang on to it right now. Oscillators show she is building up strength. Our PPO is just now trying to do a crossover. Our MACD is trying to get over the signal line, and our RSI is pushing up ever so slightly. It's not all bad, but it isn't great. Looking at our 5-day 15-minute, right? Is that the one I got, or 5-day 5-minute? 5-day 5-minute. I knew it looked too tight. So she is running, oops, let me get rid of that. She is running uphill here for the last few days, riding that 200. Look at how easy that is. Then she broke the 200 right there, hard. She fell from 70 cents all the way down to 43 cents, which is right where we're at right now. As you can see, we're right there right now. She came underneath that support. It's a resistance now. She's gotten back on top. She's fallen underneath. She is trying to stay on this support resistance right now. Our 200-day MA was doing really nice, but that drop turned it. Right now, she is actually on an uptrend, but just so lightly. Our oscillators are trying to climb. I like OPTT. I like the company. I think this is a great company for a long hold. She's had a great run here for the last few days. I do believe it is this public offering that they mentioned that caused the stock to fall. That is a dilution. If they have 97 million shares on the market and they want to put $60 million worth on the market and they go for 50 cents, that's 120 million. That's more than double what we have, which means the price should be half of where it's at. Well, we're at 80. It's down here at 40. Ta-da! It's right where it needs to be, folks. So we need some catalyst now, or she's just going to meander around here. She could fall, she could climb. I'm not quite sure what she's going to do at this point. But I can say, with that news, the investors put the price right where it needs to be. It is not an overkill. So OPTT, I like for a long hold. OTLK, I like that for a swing. I don't think either one of these are going to be hot plays this week, but if you're into swing trades, these are definitely ones that you should be looking at. And when I say that, I mean go do some more due diligence. Remember, folks, the more you know, the more you're going to grow. See ya.